Everybody says like, this is not a overnight success thing, or it's not gonna happen fast or whatever. It happens fast in trucking, guys. Literally most of the things that I learned about trucking, I had to learn the hard way, because the thing is, people just don't hop out and tell you what's going on. This environment is totally different. Like, when I first got started, I'm gonna go into like 5 things that I wish I would have done differently, or just 5 things you need to watch out for. You can consider them mistakes, or you can consider them, things you want to be mindful of. And I'm gonna go over that in this video because it's so important. Like, there's not enough people talking about some of the issues that we have in trucking. You have, other YouTubers and, other social media influencers here and there, but a lot of people don't deal with the real issues that we face on a daily basis and what's really going on. You know what I mean? It's so many, different opinions out there, and, you just get one extreme to the next. Either somebody's doing good or they're not. So for me, I just want to put out real, genuine information. And I know obviously it's going to be from my perspective, and my perspective is limited. I haven't done it all, or, you know what I mean? It's so much out here with trucking that no one knows everything, right? So I'm just gonna give you my perspective. 5 things that you can consider mistakes to avoid, or 5 things you want to stay away from. The number one thing we're gonna start off with is definitely thinking too small, right? For me, I came in this industry and automatically there were some things that I thought that I would just not do. For example, I said I would never do oversized. Like, it just looks really crazy. Like, why would I come out here and do something that looks like that? But I was completely wrong, guys. Like, I fell in love with it. So, I learned a very, very valuable lesson. Never limit yourself. I was that guy saying that I would not drive a truck, okay? I literally told myself that. Like, my wife knows, like, everybody that knows me know, dude, I'm not finna get in a truck. So I already came in this business with like such a small perspective. So that kind of limited my progress just by me not pushing myself or not wanting more out of this industry. So I will definitely encourage you guys, do not think small, because the sky's the limit. And everybody says like, this is not a overnight success thing, or it's not gonna happen fast or whatever. It happens fast in trucking, guys. People can go from like 0 to making like $1 million in this industry very, very fast. I've seen it with some of my friends that I know personally that started off from the bottom, and you give them 2-3 years and they're already nearly grossing $1 million. But that's considered fast growth. But that's what this industry is. You can grow fast. While it's not healthy, I gotta make that clear. It's not healthy to grow fast, but it does happen. And unfortunately, it destroys a lot of people out here. The smaller you think, the less you see, right? And I'm just gonna be very, very honest with you. I still struggle with that to an extent. I tend to overlook opportunities because they look like they're unreachable. For crying out loud, I never thought in a million years I would be doing loads that are about 60 foot long, 14 foot wide, going down 285. I live in Atlanta, so I never thought I would be doing anything like that, believe me. But I pushed myself. That was the main thing. Like, I made sure that, I told myself, if I'm gonna come out here and make money, I want to be a part of an industry that is hard to get into, that a lot of guys don't want to touch. So I made sure I hopped on the oversized train, you know what I mean? So don't limit yourself. There's absolutely no reason to. Like, make realistic goals, of course, and make sure that you're taking risks that are calculated. I say it all the time. You can take small risks that have big outcomes. So for example, if you want to make it really far inside of this industry, it's a good idea to partner up with people. I know we have this mentality of having your own, but sometimes, guys, having your own in this industry actually means having less, and it means just a lot more to go through. So if you can partner up with somebody and they have a superpower, you have a superpower, and together y'all are like just a Justice League, that is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And of course, when you're partnered up with somebody, you can always be growing your own thing in the meantime. And I know we don't think like that, but it's true. Like, right now, I have a dedicated contract and I have access to trucks, unlimited amount of trucks, and a limited amount of freight opportunity right now. But this was not an opportunity that I discovered. This literally came from a partnership. I had the authority, they had the opportunity for freight and trucks. So I'm like, hey, let's all work together. Let's make some money together. So, it took my business from basically stagnant to just out of the blue, potentially will be thriving this year. So, that is something that you want to take into consideration, guys. You can have your own, but if having your own means less and, it's more expensive and more trouble, is it really worth it at the end of the day? The other thing I want you guys to be mindful of is just simply, not doing the things that come to your mind a lot sooner. And I know that may seem like really, really small, but it's actually a big deal. I used to believe that things will never be too late because that's how you grow up. And that's what people tell you, like, man, you can do whatever you want to do. It's never going to be too late. But I want to be the first one to tell you, or I might be the first one to tell you this, but things may not be too late, but the circumstances are definitely different. And the barrier of entry for opportunity can definitely be a lot harder. Like, for example, if you want to start a trucking business in 2024 versus starting one in maybe 2016, it's totally different now. These insurance companies are a beast. To be honest with you, it's not just starting a trucking business. It's just like, getting my CDL a lot sooner would have been a great idea, because technically, for you to work with certain companies or for you to, get certain type of benefits, you got to have, 2 years on your CDL, or to get a certain job, you got to have 3 years on your CDL. So I believe that, I would have, gained more financial freedom just by having more time in this business. And obviously, time is always a great thing. The more experienced you are in any skill, the more, you've been through stuff, it just works more in your favor no matter how you look at it. Definitely doing anything sooner, is going to be better for you. So I don't care what it is. So if you're thinking about making a move, don't sit around and wait and tell yourself, oh, I'm always going to have this opportunity. I'm always going to be able to do this. I'm always going to be able to do that. Guys, things change. And not only that, laws change, right? So like in California, they introduced the AB5 law like last year or something like that. So that changed the whole 1099, owner operator lease situation. And no one's ever saw that before, right? Like, this is one of the first times, I believe, in history. Don't quote me on that, but from my knowledge of trucking, no one has ever said this has happened in the past, right? So, laws change. The FMCSA will come out with new rules, like new guidelines, new things for you to do. So you want to put yourself into position a lot earlier, guys. So, that's a big thing for me. Obviously you can't go back in the past and fix anything, but what you can do is what's in your power to do. And if you could do something now, I'm telling you, do not wait. Like, don't play that waiting game with yourself. And I'm not saying do things prematurely, right? But sometimes you got to put yourself out there so you can learn. Like, real entrepreneurs and business owners, they got where they are based on trial and error. Things are not always going to be perfect. Things are not always going to fall right into your lap, fall right into your hands. And that is the biggest key for procrastinators. Like, you wait for the perfect timing for everything to be right. I'm going to do it, in a month. And when that month get here, oh, I'm going to do it next month. And then when next month get here, oh, you know what? This is going on. So I think it's not the right time. Listen, there is never going to be a right time. You have to make time out of nothing, right? You have to stop time and tell yourself, I'm going to take hold of this opportunity because it's in my power to do. So that's probably one of the biggest things you can get out of this video, is not procrastinating, doing things sooner than not, and literally use the tools that you have. Like, do the things that's in your power and do not wait. Don't let people tell you you're not ready. No one's ever been ready. Like, and even when people say, oh, you ready, you still gonna go out there and make mistakes. So forget that. Get out there and make it happen for yourself. That leads me into this other topic, not having a mentor that had my best interest or a community. And it's so crazy because we see a community for a lot of different things, guys. But if you get on like Reddit, or if you get on, maybe Facebook is the biggest exception, but if you get on, LinkedIn and different platforms like that, trucking communities that actually give great information are a little bit scarce. Now, when it comes to Facebook, you have trucking communities for like a lot of different things. But what I'm talking about is support, like mental support, giving you ideas, going to people for great advice. It's not the most friendliest environment to ask other truckers what to do. Like if you tell people that you're struggling inside of the industry, it's a great chance you're going to have a lot of people that tell you, hey, just hang it up, it ain't for you, or you're a rookie and different things like that. You will have guys who encourage you. Of course, you do have a good mixture sometimes of people saying this, but I'm talking about an actual community that you belong to, that's plugged in, that has a network that you can tap into. Like you can call somebody and say, hey, I'm trying to get a trailer, and they can hook you up with the guy who can get you the trailer. I'm trying to buy a truck and I only got $5,000. They can hook you up, with somebody that has good deals or whatever the case may be. That's the type of community, like actual substance, actual tangible things that you can put your hands on to get ahead. I never had that when I first started. Like I just knew people, and that was it. And in this day and age, having a trucking community, man, is so important. You know what I mean? And, for me to like see this and it's not there, it's like, yo, I got to create this because no one else cares to do this. And I did create a community, but I didn't do it based on, just because I thought it was a great idea. I actually asked, on my Instagram, and I'm like, hey, do you guys want a trucking community that gives you this type of support, that gives you this type of, just way to navigate the industry and just make it convenient for you? And the poll was like 90-2. Like everybody was agreeing like, yeah, this is a great idea. So I actually went and created a group. And again, this is not a sales pitch. This is like a common sense pitch. Like, guys, like if you have resources, why not use them? Like I have a CPA/accountant in my group that can answer some of the most difficult questions that you can't get answered unless you was paying for it. I have people in my group that, are at Landstar. I have a guy that made $5K like last week after everything. And he's a great resource. Like, hey man, how are you doing? And who are your brokers? Because a lot of people are going to go to Landstar and they don't know anybody. I have people in my group that are insurance agents, and these are not just random people. These are people that I know, like, are on my team, that have my interest and I have their interest, and we swap information and we're all in the same exact group. Now, something like that, costs thousands of dollars, right? Guys, my group is not free, but it's only $10 a month. And it's so crazy because, it's like a no-brainer. Like if I could pay somebody to get me all this type of information, and on top of that, you get the information first. Like when I start to hire for these trucking lanes that I came across, I'm going to people that's in my network first. I don't have a whole bunch of people in my group, just to be honest with you, because I'm trying to build it. And I'm trying to build it in the most ethical way, because I'm not trying to make a whole video dedicated to joining my community. I'm not trying to, recruit all these random people. I really want it to be a great experience because, I want the best for myself and others. Do better than what I did, make more money than what I've made, and just, take your resources and get ahead with them. And a lot of times people don't do that. Like people don't look at it like, okay, you're in a good position, why don't you do this, right? People will charge you for advice, like, and I give these things out in my group for free. So guys, I'm telling you, join because it's a no-brainer, but don't join thinking that, this is something that I'm just trying to build. Guys, this is something that we all need, and it has to be a paywall, because most of these trucking groups, my goodness, man, is nothing but spammers. It's nothing but people wasting time. And I don't have time for that. Everything that I do, I want to make sure that there's substance coming out of it. I didn't have that in the beginning. And I had somewhat of a mentor, but they did not have my best interest. Like I had people that took advantage of me because they saw my potential. They knew where I could go. They knew I was punctual. They knew that I was honest. I actually got fired for being honest. And I'm going to explain that in a totally different video. But one of the guys that I thought had my best interest, he fired me because, I wouldn't do some unethical things that would have made his business a lot more profitable. So yes, that actually happened to me, by one of my mentors, and he didn't have my best interest. So I want to encourage you guys, find people that really do have your best interest, and they're not just going to use your talents for their own good, but they're actually going to build you up, and it's going to work out for you because they have your best interest. I don't know any other way to really put that. But that's something that you want to make sure that you have, guys. And if you're not locking in with my community, it's no love lost. Go lock in with somebody's community who's trying to do this type of thing in trucking. They're trying to bring people together. They're trying to bring resources together, and they're trying to make it to where we can have a better experience, but a network experience. Like, you can tap into different things and you can bring resources. Like, if you say, hey man, I got 10 trailers, but I need 10 drivers, Winston. Okay, cool. Hey, I can get you 10 guys for your trailers to rent them, blah, blah, blah. It's just so much that we can do in a community, guys. So, tap in with that if you want. If you don't want to, if it's something that's not for you, that's totally fine, all right? Now, if you're on the business side of trucking, this advice that I'm about to give you is just for owner operators and business owners, okay? And this is something that no one ever told me, but I experienced it myself, so I thought it would have been a great idea. But don't ever fall in love with the trucking business. Don't fall in love with drivers, and do not fall in love, for the sake of crying out loud, with your truck, okay? Now, let me start off with trucking first, because a lot of people will just say, man, that rubs me the wrong way. I love what I do. It's a lifestyle, whatever, okay? Those are not the type of people that I'm talking about. I'm talking about those type of business owners that love this business so much that they make emotional decisions that are wrong for their business, and it does not have the best interest of their employees, their longevity, and just, making money inside of this industry. If you're so in love with a thing that is actually bad for you, that doesn't benefit you. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's like a relationship. It doesn't matter. Business is, it doesn't matter. If you're doing something, or if you have something and you're making emotional decisions because your mind is, just so much focused on the love of a thing, it's not good, guys. It doesn't matter how you try to slice it. You want to keep a balanced emotional state inside of this business. And while it's okay to enjoy it, and it's okay to have, these emotional highs about what you do, don't let it get to the point where you are just literally making terrible decisions for your company, or your company just has a really unhealthy environment. Because, like, let's just say if you're a business owner, but you love driving, right? You might need to step out of that truck if your business is growing, because your drivers need you. You can't always hire people to solve some problems. Like, it doesn't work like that every scenario. Sometimes you got to stay in that position of leadership because others need you. You got to stay there long enough to cultivate others, to get them to a higher level, to see your vision, to pour into them. But you have some business owners that I've seen, they just love driving too. And, you're driving, they're driving. And it's like, man, like, I need you to get out of that mindset and, get into a real, development role, a management role, to get your drivers to a higher level. If that's your situation, like, there's so many scenarios I can go over, but the one that's coming to mind right now is just business owners that refuse to move out of their own way. A little bit after I got into this business, like a year later, I got my first driver. And, based on me not having experience, I fell in love with that driver. Like, I thought, like, yo, this is for life. Like, what I mean? I invested so heavy into my first driver simply because, it's never happened before. I didn't have the experience, and I didn't know that drivers are replaceable. I thought that you get a guy and he sticks with you for the next 20 years no matter what. So I was emotionally invested. Like, I would go to bed thinking like, man, I got a driver. Waking up, man, I got a driver. And while that seems like it's harmless, it's actually very harmful to be so emotionally attached to a person that you don't know that well. Because the truth be told, I didn't know him that well. Like, I knew him like prior to him driving for me. But what I mean is I didn't know him on a level of working with him consistently, trying to do business. Like, you don't know people until you actually get into business with them, and then you get a chance to see their work ethics, their mindsets, their limitations, their stress points, so because I didn't know all of that, I over invested, and I ended up taking a loss because this guy wanted to leave to get his own truck, which was great, but it came at the expense of our relationship, because he was really agitated a lot of times working with me because he was so focused on getting what I had, okay? And I know it was a little bit of envy. I don't have a problem with that if a guy envies me, because I always desire for people to be in a strong position anyway, so it doesn't affect me. It's just the fact that, you know, we ended on a bad note because this guy was such in a rush to get his own equipment, to get like his own business going, that he was just uncomfortable working for me, you know, based on those factors, man. So it was just sad because, you know, for me, I had to move on to finding a new driver, and it was just devastating, right? Business is not like that. You have to have that mindset of, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to fall in love with any employee because it's business and it's not personal. And if I want to have a personal relationship with an employee, I will go after that, but I must not let it, you know, get in the way of business. And I didn't know that there, you know, was a decision to be made like that. Like, I had to literally learn that, and it was hard. Like, you know, even if it didn't affect me like in a physical way or whatever, emotionally it felt like breaking up or going through a divorce. And I'm just trying to tell you, sometimes, you know, that can really shut you down for a while when you lose a guy that, you know, you betted on, like you invested everything, like you went hard, like I did bonus pay, like it was just so much stuff. Now today, I will not invest that much into a person that is not showing me that, you know, they're really here for the company, or, you know, they're not trying to, you know, build my vision, right? If I know somebody's not trying to help me grow, then I'm just going to do what is required on my part. I'm going to give them their pay. I'll still do bonus pay, but I'll just keep it at a level to where I'm not overly emotionally, you know, invested. Did I say that right? Where this does become a problem is, you know, when you hire a team of people and, you know, you kind of start crossing the lines with them and you're not keeping it business anymore, and it's more friendship than anything, that can come back and bite you. And, you know, a lot of y'all might not feel what I'm trying to say until it actually happens to you, but I will warn you, do not become too emotionally invested into people, no matter who they are, because people are unpredictable and things happen, things change, right? The last thing I want to mention is that truck, man. Do not fall in love with that truck. I don't care what you say. I don't care how long that nose is on that Peterbilt or that wheelbase or those spikes on that wheel hub. I don't care. Don't fall in love with no trucks, because trucks are replaceable. You know, there's just so much. Somebody can, you know, run into your truck, whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be any type of tragic situation, but your engine could blow, and, you know, you invested so much money and, you know, you didn't expect for this to happen or that to happen. But what I mean is, like, here's a practical example right here, right? I used to be so emotionally attached to my first truck that no matter what, I did not want to sell that truck. Like, I thought it would be the end of the world if I would have sold my truck, and, you know, God forbid, I would have bought a new truck, right? Like, trucks are replaceable, man. And if you're running a business and you're falling in love with each one of those trucks, you're going to have a very, very rough time, especially with drivers, because you're going to be worried more about your freaking truck than a driver. And it should never be like that. Your team and the people working with you are first. That truck means nothing, because you can easily go back and find the same exact truck. There's plenty of Peterbilt 369s out here, or 379s or whatever, or Detroit 12.7s. Like, there's plenty of machines to go around. So the number one thing I would tell you, don't fall in love with that truck so much to where you can't grow. Like, if you got to let go of that truck, let go of that truck. Trust me, you're going to get tenfold. Like, you're going to get something better. And I'm not talking to the guys who are living trucking as a lifestyle. They had the same truck for the last 10 years. You know, they've invested, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's all custom. I'm not talking to that crowd. I understand that crowd. You know, that is a home for you, right? You've grown to the point where that truck is literally like, you know, your home away from home. So I get it. I'm talking about guys who are not at that point, and they're trying to navigate this business, you know, in a way where it benefits them. They're trying to make money. They're trying to grow. They're trying to understand. Do not get caught up with falling in love with a truck, guys. Now, the last two things I'm going to warn you guys about, and I'm actually on the belt line right now, so just bear with me. But the last two things I'm going to warn you guys about is just, you know, put your health first. I don't care how much money is on the line, guys. Put your health first. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket, okay? those are the two things that I want to talk about, because a lot of guys trade their health for money inside of this business, and when you get the money, you're not going to have the health to enjoy it. Okay, so if for some strange reason this business is causing too much stress on your body, because it's really common, you know, navigate this industry. You don't have to be a driver. You can be a dispatcher, you can be a broker, you can get into warehousing, like you can rent trailers, you can rent trucks, you can get into sales. Guys, there's a list of things you can do, but if you're, you know, boxed in and you're not thinking outside of that box, it's going to be very hard for you to see these opportunities. But I'm just warning you, and I'm just telling you, do not trade your health for money in any industry, especially not trucking, because, you know, we're replaceable. Like drivers come and go. So don't think that it's the end of the world if you get into a situation where you got to hang this up and move into a different situation. Like, maybe it's better off for you to be a broker, for crying out loud, but don't trade your health for this business, man. And as far as putting your eggs in one basket, guys, the reason why you don't want to do that is simply because things change inside of trucking all the freaking time. Like, for instance, is certain contracts that you're running that you won't be able to run because they might get sold out, or, you know, another company will come in and, you know, bid higher or bid lower than you, and now they have your freight or they have your lane. And I'll just give you an example of that, you know, on why I say don't put all your eggs in one basket. One time I did this and I was making really good money. I was running a certain lane, and I actually did a couple of videos on this. You know, I was doing some milk, and, you know, I was making a ton of money, guys, but I was so invested that I didn't see it coming that I would not have this contract in a few months, right? So, you know, long story short, I'm not able to run that contract anymore, and basically, you know, that caused me to lose a ton of money. But I would have made up for that had I not heavily invested in it, right? I would have been looking for more work. I wouldn't have been spreading myself, you know, really thin, just focused on that one little area. So you can get into tanker, you can use your hazmat if you do have one. You know, you can get into oversized hauling, you can get into equipment hauling, you can get into grain trailers, you can get into dump trailers, you can get into waste trailers. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and I don't want to be rambling, so I'm going to get ready to cut this video short. But if you stuck around with me to the end of this video and you actually listened to my rants and you actually learned something, I appreciate you for sticking around. I really, really do appreciate you for sticking around. And I do hope that you consider joining that group. I am working on Easy Go Manager. That is a trucking app that, you know, I aim to solve some of the issues that I've been facing for a long time in trucking, like finding drivers, you know, having a TMS software that's affordable, finding jobs, and, you know, posting jobs and different things like that, networking. So check out Easy Go Manager. The link is in the bio. I'm getting ready to launch that, so I would definitely appreciate the support. Even if you guys, you know, just go to the website, or, you know, just download it. It's available on Apple right now, but it's still in its beta phase. So go check it out. I'm gonna leave the link for you to get, you know, some type of access to it. But yeah, guys, I'm about to, you know, continue my day. But I wanted to get this video in just like last time. You know, I was busy. I wasn't able to shoot when I wanted to, but I'm just gonna shoot no matter what's going on. No procrastination, man. We gotta make it happen. And I definitely have to get this information out to you guys. So I'm not gonna make any excuses, all right? I'm gonna shoot a video anywhere, regardless if I have the right lighting, regardless if I have the right script, regardless if it's a perfect situation or whatever. And hopefully you guys, you know, get something out of that. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video.